Hi, this is Mark. I'm the so-called minister of the Natural Rights Sangha. Just call me Mark, for God's sake. And I'm happy you're here listening to this little video about the precepts. The precepts of the Natural Rights Sangha are really the essence of it. We're a group with which you can do a lot. You can be a member of an organized religion. You can be a follower of a guru or a teacher or of another group's teachings. The only thing that we ask in the Natural Rights Sangha is that our precepts fit within that, so you can use us as an additional foundation for your practice or as the base of the foundation for your practice as you get going. Both are okay, both are possible. The Natural Rights Sangha is for everybody. Now, last year, a group was started called the Association for Spiritual Integrity. It's similar in many ways, except it's designed for teachers. It's designed for gurus or swamis or teachers or whoever that feels they're qualified to teach a spiritual group. And unfortunately, there's been a lack of good behavior. Good being a relative thing, of course, but of good behavior on the part of many of these teachers. In fact, some have been absolutely foul in their behavior. Those things are hopefully to be avoided, and those people are hopefully to be avoided. However, the Natural Rights Sangha is for you. And the precepts, which we're going to talk about today, are a great base upon which to build any spiritual practice, or I think upon which to live. So to go in order, and I'm going to read them so I go in order, because in my head I don't keep them in order all the time. And I didn't want to number them either, because that kind of says this is more important than another or something, and they're not. They're all important. And for each of you, there might be some that really resonate, so they become the most important for you. Now, the first one on here is that I endeavor to refrain from harming any living being. I endeavor at all times to refrain from harming any living being. Does that mean you can't be a police officer? Does that mean you can't be a soldier? Does that mean you can't swat a dengue fever carrying mosquito as it's about to bite your baby? You endeavor not to harm. Should you choose to be a pacifist, this precept would certainly fit in with what you do. If you are a police officer, you endeavor to harm anyone as little as possible in the carrying out of your duties. And we'll move on. Well, there can be much more about any of these, but I'm trying to cover each one in this short video. Questions, of course, can be sent at any time to mark@naturalrightsangha.org. And I'm happy to cover these questions. There'll be some videos like this, which are just general videos with information for everybody, and other weekly service videos, and questions can be answered in both. And if you send a particular question and I answer it at some point, I'll try to send you an email telling you, hey, I'm answering your question in this particular video, especially if it's not in a weekly meeting, which hopefully you'll be at anyway. Okay, the second on the list is never take something which is not freely offered by another. Now, the Ten Commandments say don't take anything, right? Don't steal. Well, this takes away the fine line between, well, I thought they knew I was taking it, and they'd said it was okay before, so I borrowed it or whatever. This is you only take something if someone offers it to you. Like, hey, Joe, use my car. Hey, Joe, here's my hammer. Bring it back when you're done, all right? Or, hey, Susie, yeah, go ahead. You know, take that, use that. That's fine. But if they don't do that, you don't take it. You don't use it. Okay, it's that simple. Um, the Buddhists are very strong about this one, especially for the monks and nuns. I mean, the Buddhist monks, as I mentioned too on the website, once you're a monk in the fourth tradition in Thailand, unless the fruit has fallen off the tree, you don't eat it. You can't even pick it off the tree because it has not been freely offered yet. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty strict, but we're not that strict. Don't worry. Now, the next precept, to speak and listen mindfully without lies, slander, and gossip, and to never take any person's words, instructions, or prescriptions as true or meaningful without careful consideration. Okay, there are really two parts to this one. And the first part is speak honestly. Always tell the truth. And one nice thing about that is you never need to wonder about what did I say about that before to this person? Because if you just tell the truth, you don't need to wonder. And you live as if there's nothing to hide, and there should be nothing to hide. You tell the truth about everything. And if you follow these precepts, there's never a reason to have to hide anything. Now, certain private things you don't have to talk about, of course. Doesn't mean you have to answer every question, especially if they're prying into your personal business. That's not what it's saying. It's just saying we live without lies, without slander, and without gossip. No, it's a lot of fun to go, God, did you hear what so-and-so did? Oh my God, I think so-and-so's having an affair, or so-and-so's doing this. Or, hey, did you hear so-and-so might get the promotion instead of this person? And, or whatever, okay? And some of it seems innocent and some of it seems harmless. Let's try to stay away from it. Endeavor not to do this, okay? And as we move along the spiritual path, we'll find out that, oh, guess what? It's really good to stay quiet a lot of the time. Why say anything? You don't have to. In fact, some traditions, including Buddhism, says if you know something's going to be harmful to someone, it's going to hurt them to hear something. If you don't absolutely have to say it, don't say it. Why? Why just produce hurt for no reason? Now, the second part of this one is to always consider what you are told, always to evaluate it, make sure it's right for you. What's interesting is Jesus said to do this, Buddha said to do this, Muhammad said to do this, Ramana Maharshi said to do this. They all said, only do this if it's right for you. Consider what is good for you and accept my words or these words only if you have affirmed it in here and in here that it's true for you too. It's amazing how many leaders today just want you to accept their words as the law or the truth and to obey them mindlessly. That's not what was intended by the true sages in history. And it's certainly not what's intended by the Natural Right Sangha. Evaluate everything. In fact, this is all about you. Looking at life and making choices based on everything you are and have been and have learned and feel and resonate with, and living in accordance with that in all truth and all strength and all honesty. And this is the way to be. You'll notice that these precepts also encourage us to live in the middle way, so to speak. If you live by these precepts, you're not going to be out getting drunk every night. And you're not going to be out being crazy doing this or that or the other thing. And you're not going to be starving yourself or going through ascetic practices that make you weak or hungry or sex starved or anything else. You're going to be in the middle, which is where, for one, the Buddha said to be. And basically all of the greats said to be healthy, live reasonably, and work from there. Okay, moving on again. The next precept says to avoid unnecessary suffering by living without assumptions and expectations of others or myself as much as possible. Now, I'm going to give a big recommendation here. Read the book, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. It's a fantastic book, and it talks about how dangerous assumptions and expectations can be. And it does a much better job of explaining this than I have time to do and possibly could do. But how many times have you, or all of us, and certainly me, made assumptions about something and find out later that I wasn't right? Yeah, a lot. And expectations, the best expectation is to have no expectations. Okay, I mean, who was it in Napoleon's Circle? Was it Josephine who said, all that's sure in life is death and taxes? Well, that's pretty much it, isn't it? And the Buddha would say, all that's sure in life is change. So even the taxes will change, and perspectives about death will change. So read the Four Agreements, please. Now, the next one is huge. The next one is huge. And in fact, it's so big that I'm going to cut off this little video here and call this the first half of the precepts. And I'm going to do a special one on that because I don't like these to get too long. They get too long, people, I know I don't like to watch things that are too long, and maybe you don't either. But this way you can have two parts to watch, and it's pretty easy to do. And you won't have to listen to one for a long time. Okay, so we'll come back with the second half of the precepts, a quick exposition about them with the next recording. Thanks. Okay.